I'm Keisha of CoconutRobot.com, and today I want to show you another project that I've created using my brother's ScanNCut. The project that I've created to show you today is a bib. Just like this, pretty simple. I find with these bibs, the sewing aspect of them is just so quick and easy. They make such great little baby gifts. But what takes the most time for me is just cutting them, getting them perfectly even, and that's just a tedious part. So to get rid of that step and to be able to scan in a drawn image, we're actually going to weld it with an image that comes stock on your machine. You can just save that image, and then when you have some scrap fabric or some time, go ahead and cut out another piece and make another bib. The materials that we're going to be using today are the fabric for your bib, your scanning mat, and either the 12 by 24 fabric mat or the 12 by 12 fabric mat. You're also going to be using your fabric support sheet. Remember, that's the one with the blue backing. And if you're using your 12 by 24 mat, you're going to be using 2 of those. What I did to begin is I sketched out with a black marker the top of my bib, and you could really create this however you'd like. If you want these to be square at the top, you can do that. I simply folded my paper in half and drew one side, and then I simply traced it on the other side so I had a perfect mirror image on both sides. So we're going to go ahead and scan it into the ScanNCut. Make sure at the bottom, I used my edge of my paper, but I also added a black line just to make sure that my ScanNCut picks up my outline and I have a really nice clean cut line for my bib. So let's go ahead and set up our scan sheet. I'm going to load my mat, and then we're going to scan to cut data. Because we want to save this, we want to weld it to the body of our bib, this bottom part here. So we want to save that so we can use it later. Now that I've scanned my bib top into my ScanNCut, I'm going to recall that image so I can weld it to the body of my bib. So to my bib, I'm going to take a quick look at the measurements here. So it's about 8 inches wide, 8.03. So to this image, I'm going to add a rectangle. And I'm going to make my width 8.03. And now you can see it's lined up nicely right below my bib. All I need to do to weld my images is just make them slightly overlap. So I really like to use the nudge tool for this, just so I can make sure that they are really lined up well. So I'm going to just nudge that across both of those lines just so I can see a small white space. Take a zoom in just to make sure that we want to make sure both of our edges are lined up really nicely, so that way when we have an outline, it'll create a nice solid line around my bib. Now we need to select both of my outlines, our bib top that we scanned in and the bib bottom. And then we're going to use the weld tool here on the bottom left. Go ahead and check the outline to make sure it's exactly how you'd like, and then weld that image together. Now you can either cut out your image just like this. Remember, you're going to lose a 1/4 inch on either side depending on your seam allowance. Or now that we've created one large image, we can go back into my tool here, my editing tool, and add a seam allowance. If you want to change that seam allowance, that's in our setup tools. Oh, passed it there. And we could change it to a 1/2 inch, 5/8, or any of the options there. I'm going to keep it at a 1/4 inch. 1/4 inch does all the curves really nicely. And then we're just going to align our bib on our mat the way that we'd like. And then we're going to prep our fabric to be cut.